It's Friday, the 26th of October, 2018, approximately 9 p.m. East African time. A very good evening to you, and thank you for keeping us company. We are glad that you've chosen to usher in the weekend with us. I am Ndiro Ganga, ready to bring you up to speed with all the news causing waves across the globe. And as you know, we're all about business. Here's a glance of all the news making headlines in the business world.
And the fourth industrial revolution is going to create job creation in every aspect. Every youth will have, it's like for the M-Pesa.
Fourth Industrial Revolution Conference, technology, it's now or never.
And it will probably come from a dimension, a direction you never ever perceived. And that's the reality of industry.
33rd Insurance Institute of Kenya Annual Conference to 70 more years. Africa Guarantee Fund banks on green investment, going green. Let's start off with matters technology. The Fourth Industrial Revolution Favors Africa Conference took place today at the Radisson Blu Hotel, Nairobi. The conference brought together relevant stakeholders in the ICT industry to discuss emerging, trending and disruptive technologies, providing both caution and solutions. Take a look. The world has in the recent past experienced 3 industrial revolutions, and the fourth is beginning to take shape. However, unlike the past revolutions that Africa missed out on, Dr. Bitange Ndemo, chair of the Blockchain Technology and Artificial Intelligence Task Force, says all factors are in favor of Africa to take advantage of the fourth industrial revolution.
The average age for an African in Kenya or in some other countries is 18. Those are the most, 75% of the youth are below 35. If you go to Europe, the average age is 50. There is no people at that bottom to be able to do this. And that's why we say it favors Africa. We have the problems, we can create the solutions, we have the young people, they have good education. All we need to do is to urge the young people. Most of the southern countries, southern hemisphere, have a lot of young people to do these things and be able to benefit like the northern hemisphere benefited during the first, second, and the third industrial revolution.
Mechanoid. Motion control.
While the rest of the continent still lags behind, Kenya is doing pretty well for itself. With the task force already in operation, Dr. Bitange says some of the recommendations include leveraging blockchain technology and artificial intelligence to improve productivity in the country.
We have made steps because we have completed the plan on how it's going to be implemented, and the minister should launch it any time. What we have, the recommendations we're making is that we must use it to improve on productivity in government, especially the services in government. We have talked about how to improve on productivity, especially the farming. We have made recommendations around how to improve food security, how to track and trace food from source to the table. These are things we must be concerned, how to track medicine from source to the time you get to use the medication, because we have multiple counterfeits around, and that's what we want to deal with.
Contrary to the popular opinion that technology will take away jobs, organizations are leveraging the power of technology to conquer the world markets, create jobs, and make profits.
Uber does not own a vehicle, even one. Yeah? But they make a lot of money. Why? They are leveraging technology and creating jobs locally here, people who are buying their own vehicles and doing that. The largest media company, Facebook, does not create content, but they have leveraged technology to do that. Yeah? The largest provider of hotel rooms, Airbnb, has no real estate, not one. Yeah, they have leveraged technology. The largest retailer, Alibaba, does not even own one pen in inventory. They have created these networks. This is what is happening. We should also be thinking, because there's a new concept called distributed manufacturing. This distributed manufacturing is coming because of miniaturization of production plants. Why then don't we use it and have the largest manufacturer without owning a factory, by having youth own these factories where the customers are? Every county should have a production plant for soap. Why should it be centralized here in Nairobi and then bringing hundreds and thousands of youth to Nairobi who have no jobs? We can redistribute them across the country. We deal with issues like rural-urban migration by creating those factories which leverage on technology.
However, the jobs that come with the fourth industrial revolution will require a human resource capital with the technical know-how. Dr. Fernando Wangila, ICT Director NTSA, noted that the government needs to find ways of uplifting and empowering the youth in the industrial revolution.
We all need to support them in different ways. Financially, first, because in this fourth industrial revolution, you need some little finances to do what you have to do, especially all these things are IoT related. That's Internet of Things sector. I will also like the government to look at the older regulations and policies that are around to help the youth, because these regulations should be enabling and they should stimulate the youth to do what they have to do. Sometimes they might be doing some innovation that is out of the law, yet it's not a very bad innovation, so they need to be empowered. For example, the laws on drones, the youths who use drones for different type of things in agriculture, mapping of farms, in transport, enforcement using drones. So we need to create laws that will empower the youth to use such things. The youth and the universities try to change the curriculum to fit the fourth industrial revolution, because if we go teaching the old traditional courses, then we might not be bringing up a workforce for the future.
Education cannot be downplayed in the fourth industrial revolution, as the youth must be equipped with the technical know-how. To this end, Samira Mirajin, Swift Robotics EAC Regional Director, pointed out the need for schools to be set up to train on emerging technologies.
If you look at today, the education that everyone is receiving is the wrong education. You cannot have a degree and you'll still stay hungry. Now is hands-on. Our education system has failed. And that is why the fourth industrial revolution is going to create those opportunities. You don't need to go to the universities anymore. In fact, the students that are in universities today, we are partners with a lot of knowledge partners like the University of Nairobi, Daystar, Strathmore, and USIU. They are going to agree with us that all the people, the students that are taking courses today, in the next 2 years, those courses they'll be completing will not even exist. That's why the education that we want to give them is to create hands-on, to come out and embrace all the emerging technologies that are being offered to us.
With such conversations being carried out every day on the place of industrial revolution in the country, if the country fails to leverage on the benefits of industrial revolution, then we will only have ourselves to blame. The Insurance Institute of Kenya today held its 33rd annual conference to celebrate its 70th anniversary at the Safari Park Hotel in Nairobi. The industry players also took time to deliberate on key issues in the sector, key among them being ethics and technology. Our reporter Daisy Ombo, who attended the conference, fills us in.
Whether they are already at that level of data science.
The Deputy Solicitor General, who was also the chief guest, Dr. Marcella Ouma, pointed out on the importance of ethical business practices.
The industry, basically, I say at the time when I started off, that's the time when we had, I think, serious chaos within the industry. We saw the collapse of some of the biggest insurance companies, courtesy of the transport sector. And I think as time has gone by, I'm 100% sure that most of these particular companies came down, and one of the contributing factors was unethical behavior, especially from the leadership. So these are some of the things that I think we learned from the past. So enhancing ethical leadership for growth and sustainability is a topical issue. So it's not just very specific for the insurance industry. For some of us in government, this is something that is very pertinent. And I think practically everywhere we are going through, we are looking at issues of ethical leadership.
Mobile services for banking.
Technology is a constant in business, and to this, Richard Gitonga, the director Matrix Black Box Limited, pointed out to the industry players the importance of adapting new technologies.
Smartest people, I remember we used to have what we call the smartest people in Singapore at that time, they had never anticipated that a platform or a business model from a different industry, more so telecommunications, would come into the banking industry and disrupt the entire industry. And more so, they could not have even anticipated that that disruption would come from Kenya. That is in form of a platform called M-Pesa, isn't it? We had not anticipated it.
Effective coverage.
He challenged the stakeholders to have a vision for digital excellence in the strategic plan, as it's a crucial factor to the industry remaining relevant.
I need to challenge you, because I can see some leaders in this room. If you do not have in your strategic plans right now a vision for digital excellence, you need to review your strategic planning. You can talk about digital operationalization of a business, but you need a vision that embraces digital excellence. And hopefully by the end of this session, in the next 45 minutes or so, you'll see how critical that is.
Also the moderator.
He continued to state that though the insurance sector is yet to experience major technological disruption, the players must be prepared for this eventuality.
So please, when we talk about disruption, it's a very real thing. And I can assure you, as the insurance industry continues at the rate at which it's continuing, there are people working night and day trying to figure out how to disrupt it. That's what happened in banking. And it will probably come from a dimension, a direction you never ever perceived. And that's the reality of industry.
As the industry celebrates 70 years of speaking in one voice, plotting for the next 70 years is just as crucial. It is clear that ethics and technology, the glue that holds it all together, are sure great starting points. For Brown Plus TV Business News, I am Daisy Wambua.
The African Guarantee Fund for Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises, through its corporate social responsibility arm, today held a tree planting day to mark this year's International Day of Climate Action at the Curator Forest in Lari District, Kiambu County. Speaking during the tree planting exercise, John Gishuki, the head of Trade Finance Credit Bank, pointed out the contributions they have put in an effort to empower SMEs.
There has been a very big impact, especially with the partnership with AGF. We are able to support most of the clients who will not have been supported, especially where the issue of collateral is missing, because as a bank we are able to structure most of the facilities and solutions around it. And partnering with the Africa Guarantee Fund brings that other push that we not have had. In banking, you know, because of various regulations and all, there are certain limits we cannot be able to do. But AGF comes with this other arm that now we are able to come and give a lot of solutions around it with their boost again. So they come in with around, if say a facility is say 10 million, they would also come with 10 million. So there is a boost of 50% from them, and again 50% from the bank. So at the end of the day, the customer gets the solution on 100%. So that's how we work along.
He continued to state that it makes economic sense in supporting the small and medium enterprises.
It does every economic sense because, number one, every other transaction that we do as a bank, we're obligated by the natural environmental standards and laws that are around it. So we must make sure each and every transaction that happens or comes through the bank meets certain standards. Like, for example, we can't support a customer who is doing deforestation because it is illegal. So as much as it may make an economic sense from the customer because he could be cutting trees and selling, but that is not economically viable and is not a transaction we would be able to support. Therefore, when you bring now the green financing, we have to look at transaction from all sense, that it has to meet the necessary economic and social standards that are required by the current regulations that are there.
Of African Guarantee Fund, Mr. Felix. An increasing number of SMEs are venturing into businesses that tackle climate change, thus presenting various opportunities.
Can we go back to our cars? Thank you very much.
There are various opportunities because you find, I would say, in all sectors. Because you find in, say, manufacturing, there is a supply of a certain raw materials. There is also a manufacturer in between, and there is also a distributor on the other end. So when you look at that transaction, we don't always look at one sector. We look at the entire value chain of the entire sector. So if we get manufacturing, we look at both the entry point and the exit point of those certain products.
The organization has over the past 6 years made available $1.4 billion towards financing SMEs, and currently the Guarantee Fund has more than 10 financial partner institutions in the country. The participants will be planting 10,000 trees to make a significant impact towards increasing the country's forest cover, which makes every good business sense. Welcome back to the most comprehensive, exclusively business news bulletin in the country. And now let's turn to matters MSMEs. The Kenya Private Sector Alliance, KEPSA, in partnership with Invest in Africa, today held a private sector stakeholders Scale Up Kenya breakfast meeting. The forum cast a special light on how partnerships can help grow MSMEs. Take a look.
As Kenya aspires to reach its goal of being an upper middle income economy by 2030, and for this to happen, the private sector should match the aspirations of government, and SMEs are a key driving force.
3 things that you'd want the president.
Speaking during the event, KEPSA chairman Nick Nesbitt challenged SME business leaders to really get the fundamentals right, even as they seek to scale.
If we're going to be successful as an SME, it's really important that the leaders of that company get it. And I'm not sure how they can get it. Get it meaning you've got to get the fundamentals of business right. You have to have a right strategic plan, a right business plan. You got to have your finances right. You need to know where you're going in your supply chain. So frequently in this country of ours, we talk about innovation, but we practice imitation. Right? Somebody's got a petrol station, wow, we're all into petrol stations. Someone's processing this, wow, we're all over there. So as a business person, it's really important to look at the value chain and see where you fit. So we don't play business the way 5-year-olds play football. Wherever the ball is, that's where we all go.
They know that they are good companies, but the question...
On her part, while speaking, Wangeshi Murioki, country manager Invest in Africa, Kenya, first highlighted what the organization does and its aspirations.
Our vision is to prosper African economies. Our purpose is to enable trade between large organizations, the big companies, multinationals, large local organizations, which we know we have very good names in Kenya, is to enable trade between them and the SMEs by improving access to markets, access to skills, and access to finance.
Sustainability of those jobs are going.
She went on to note that despite all the promise that SMEs hold, they are still plagued with a myriad of challenges.
First, there was very limited information and visibility of each other. The big organizations, they know that they are good companies, but the question was, where are they? They are not visible to each other. And the same case with SMEs, also clearly outlining that there was a challenge in finding the organizations and also getting to know where the opportunities are. The second challenge, as we all know, was the low awareness of governance. And this emerged from both sides, from the big organizations and also the SMEs. The third one was on the lack of quality and consistency. That's what all the big companies complain about. Yes, you want to do business with SMEs that meet the standards and that are consistent. And the fourth one was on the skills deficit, which we all know about. The final challenge, or the fifth challenge, was the limited access to finance. This emerges as the most pressing need for SMEs.
To this regard, she noted that partnerships are the answer to overcome the issues that face MSMEs.
Then we also have a skills development program. This is the business linkage program. And it's one very well thought out program because it connects the three: markets, skills, and finance. Graduates of this program typically can access finance. And that is where we partner with EY and Strathmore Business School. We've got an ambitious target for scaling up 500 SMEs from next year, in the next 2 years, to ensure that we have businesses that we can showcase, that we can connect.
Things will be delivered on a platter that...
Even as SMEs seek to scale up, there needs to be greater focus on the opportunities and less on the challenges, because in the end, where there is focus, there is growth. For Brand Plus TV Business News, I am Elsa Atieno.
Technology by SMEs.
The 6th African Higher Education Week and Reform Biannual Conference officially came to a close today. The conference, which sought to promote capacity building in agriculture under the theme Aligning African Universities to Accelerate Attainment of Africa's Agenda 2063, brought together stakeholders in the agriculture sector from around the continent. Our reporter Karari John Wambugu tells us more.
Agenda 2063 is Africa's strategic framework that aims to deliver on Africans' goals for inclusive and sustainable development.
Government, I am pleased to have the honor to chair this closing ceremony.
On the closing day of the conference, the keynote speaker, former Nigerian minister and former vice president for Africa at the World Bank and a presidential candidate in Nigeria's next year election, Obiageli Ezekwesili, gave an inspiring Pan-African address where she pointed out that Africa, to move forward, needs to empower women not only on the basis of affirmative action, but by removing barriers hindering women from attaining their full potential.
Women must be judged on the basis of competency. I don't canvass for women to be given a lower threshold of qualification, but I do know that if you paid attention to the barriers that stand in their way, they would rise up to the standard that is expected and defined.
Human capacity and skills was at the core of deliberation at the conference in the short and long-term developmental plans of Africa. And to this end, she reiterated on its importance.
It is key that we should take ownership of the failures since our independence. And one key failure is the failure to make our citizens the primacy of our economic development agenda. It is crucial that no matter what left or right of development you come from, that Africa must now determine that it is human capital development that drives our economic strategy.
Led by Professor
Africa has vast opportunities and potential to move forward, and she has the capacity to produce solutions to her challenges.
If there's any incentive that you go home with, it is that you must become the voice for the demand of good governance on our continent. Because with good governance would come the right sets of policy choices that would make tertiary education what it should be, the creator of the pathway to a truly modern Africa that can claim the 21st century.
Cabinet Secretary, Education, Ambassador Amina Mohammed gave a press briefing through which she updated the public on the official communique of the conference.
She's spoken about the Big Four agenda, and you know that it will not work unless we have actually the capacity to drive each one of them. And that capacity will be derived from our higher education institutions, including our universities, but also other institutions that we have of higher learning, the TVETs and others. And so I actually don't think, and I know that to be a fact, that any country can industrialize, right, and can grow its economy if it does not exploit science, technology, if it's not innovative. It's only when you're innovative that you can actually address the challenges that you have, because most of the challenges we have need a new way of dealing with. We cannot continue doing the same thing over and over again.
As curtain fell on Ruforum 2018, 23 young African entrepreneurs were awarded for their contribution to the African developmental agenda. Indeed, the future of Mother Africa is in the safe hands. Reporting for Brown Plus TV, I am Karari John Wambugu.
On to some interesting fashion matters now. You can have anything in life if you dress for it. Edith Head. This words came to life as Spanish high street fashion retailer Mango opened a mega store in Nairobi's Westgate Mall. This is in line with its continued expansion in Africa. Our reporter Karari John attended the glamorous launch and brings us the details of the story.
Kenyans continue to face tough economic times with increased taxes and rising inflation. However, the investor through the launch demonstrated confidence in the resilience of the economy. International Spanish fashion house Mango made an entry into the Kenyan and East African region through its franchise store at Westgate, a flagship project for the brand. Alden Edmonds, owner Mango Kenya, pointed out what Mango is bringing to Kenya.
I'm just really excited about the opportunity. We've worked well with Mango, excited to be in the Westgate Mall. We have a really great team. I think what's good about it is that it's a first-class Mango. We have a world-class build-out. We're priced in a way that's competitive across the globe. So you won't see the product for more money in South Africa or Dubai. So what you have here is a global experience. A top-line build-out, top-line apparel, and priced the way you would see it in any other market. So it's a first-class Mango, and I think it will be well received by Kenyans.
The Westgate Mango store has a space of 620 meters square, making it the largest outlet in sub-Saharan Africa. With such an investment, there must be something that Edmonds saw in the market, and he did go on to talk about the business environment and the decision to invest in Mango.
It's really why we've come here, because I think that Kenyans want a global experience where they can get a top product at a fair price. And based on initial feedback, I think we'll be well received, and I really look forward to servicing the market. I'm here with other brands as well, so I'm committed to the market. I'm here for the long term, and my goal is to provide a global experience at a good price to Kenyans.
The entrepreneur went ahead to expound on the future plans of the brand here in Kenya.
We definitely have aspirations to open more shops and bring more brands in. So we're here for the long term, we're dug in, and we're committed to the market and committed to bringing a top experience.
The Westgate flagship store, which officially opens its door to the public tomorrow, carries the Mango Woman, Mango Man, and Mango Kids lines.
Let's take a look at how the markets performed today. Here is a summary. a summary of how the markets performed, but for more in-depth analysis of the same, tune in Monday through Friday morning at 8 a.m. for my next big bet with Rachel Deritu and Karanji Daniel. Let's take a look at the weather's report today. That was it from our business news desk tonight, but do make sure to tune in at 9 p.m. on Monday for a fresh serving of news-making headlines in the business world. Have yourself a lovely weekend.